This time on Traveling with Teens.
We have the honour of flying with the coolest pilot ever.
We tackle this never-ending taxi rank queue at Athens International Airport.
We play TripAdvisor roulette. Does having Greek food where the locals eat pay off?
And we experience an amazing sunset over Athens.
All this and more on this episode of Travelling with Teens. This summer, we booked a 9-night cruise aboard the Celebrity Constellation, departing from Athens, Greece, and finishing in the port of Ravenna, Italy, which is the nearest cruise port to Venice.
What celebrity titled their Best of Eastern Mediterranean cruise itinerary visited the island of Mykonos?
Kusadasi in Turkey, where we took an excursion to the ancient city of Ephesus.
The Greek islands of Rhodes, Santorini, and Zakynthos.
Then on to Croatia, where we visited the ancient city of Dubrovnik, as well as the port of Zadar, before we disembarked in Italy.
We'll cover this itinerary, port by port, in our weekly vlogs in this series, as well as lots about the Celebrity Constellation itself. It is a great ship.
And if you like what we do, please like and subscribe, or even comment. It would mean the world to us at this early stage of our channel.
But before we boarded the Celebrity Constellation, we had to get to Athens. We live in the southeast of England and are lucky to have several London airports right on our doorstep. This time we were flying from London Heathrow, Terminal 5.
We usually drive to the airport, but on this occasion it was considerably cheaper to fly out of Heathrow and into Gatwick. So we took a taxi for this early morning flight to Athens.
And when we say early, we mean early. In fact, it was hardly even worth going to sleep.
Teenagers aren't the easiest to rouse in the morning, but we find that on travel days, a cup of coffee and a boarding pass is all our two need to spring into action, regardless of the hour.
We don't usually take a taxi to the airport, and on this occasion I was really looking forward to not driving, but trust me, in hindsight, we should have driven.
We weren't expecting to have to tell our driver, who was constantly speeding on the motorway, albeit an empty motorway, at 2 a.m. to put his seatbelt on. And I ended up scrunched in a teen sandwich in the back seat, which wasn't ideal.
But in the end, we made it to the airport more than 3 hours before our scheduled flight, only to encounter something we'd never seen in all our years of travel: an empty London airport.
There were hardly any cars in the drop-off area.
And even fewer passengers inside.
Considering it was the UK school holidays, it was a nice surprise, and we took advantage of the quiet to enjoy a much-needed cup of coffee and a small bacon roll.
We had checked in online the night before, so we were able to drop our bags at bag drop and head straight through to security.
There's always lots of stories of how long it takes to get through Heathrow security, so we were really pleased that it only took 5 minutes in the morning.
Once we were airside and after another coffee stop, it was time to board the flight.
Again, this was quick and easy, and we were soon on board. As you can see, in a 3-3 cabin configuration, we always choose to have 2 adults on the aisle.
This works best for us, as Beth and I can chat across the aisle and gives us plenty of legroom, leaving the window for the kids to share.
Just before takeoff, the captain came out of the cockpit, and we found this a really wonderful surprise. While it's more and more common to find female pilots on commercial flights these days, we've never seen a pilot of any gender come out and engage with the children pre-flight the way she did.
Our two were too old to be on the captain's radar, but we could see from the faces of the younger passengers on board, many of whom were given a sticker by the pilot, that they were both delighted and inspired by her visit.
It was also a rare treat to be given a snack and a drink on a short-haul flight from the UK. Most British-based airlines no longer do this. It was just a simple Nutri-Grain bar and a bottle of water, but it was a nice touch. And as we've been up for so long, we needed more, so we decided to opt for BA's afternoon tea boxes, although it was before midday as well. This was a nice way to start our holiday.
On our channel, we are not going to pretend to be food critics. Although we may say whether we were pleased or disappointed by a certain meal or snack, that's as far as we'll go. We will, however, always try to show you what we had so you can make up your own minds.
Tony had a bit of a problem with his underseat USB ports not working on the flight.
Yeah, it was until I realized that even though USB-C cables may feel like they fit into normal USB sockets, they don't.
We had a great flight, smooth and on time into Athens. After we landed, the pilot came on and apologised that Athens airport was so busy there were no air bridges available.
We were then led off the plane into buses, which only had to travel about 50 meters to the arrival terminal. Everything went very smoothly until we left the baggage reclaim to catch a taxi to our hotel.
The taxi rank is very easy to find. It's just outside baggage reclaim.
But there was a monster queue, and with not enough taxis and too many people, to put it mildly, it was chaos. It did move very, very quickly though, and in the end we only spent about 10 minutes waiting for a taxi.
There's very helpful signs posted at the rank showing the approved fare rates to Athens from the airport. The flat rates to the city centre are €40 in the daytime, rising to €54 between midnight and 5 a.m, which is very reasonable and it cuts out any confusion.
Though it's quite a long journey from Athens International into the city centre, about half an hour, give or take, with traffic, our driver pointed out points of interest along the way, such as the stadium site of the first modern Olympics since 1896.
We booked through BA to stay one night at the Intercontinental Athenium Athens. While we usually prefer hotels with more character, we chose this hotel as we knew it would have great air conditioning and soundproofing. We've stayed in Athens before when catching ferries to smaller Greek islands, and I found it very difficult to sleep in some of the smaller hotels due to street noise and thin windows.
We also knew we didn't want to be exhausted when we embarked the Celebrity Constellation the following day, and it's always a good idea to arrive to a port city the day before you embark a cruise ship, just in case. Anyway, this hotel suited our needs.
And it ticked lots of our other boxes. The hotel was walking distance to Plaka,
The old town of Athens.
and it had a rooftop terrace with Acropolis views.
Our arrival didn't start very well, as the queues to check in were insane, worse than the taxi rank.
It took over an hour to check in, which you really don't need when you're hot and tired.
But our room was fine, clean, with plenty of space.
We like to travel as much as possible, so we'll often share one large room with the boys rather than spending extra on two adjoining rooms. This tends to keep costs down, allowing us to go on more trips rather than one big blowout trip.
On this occasion, there were 2 single beds, which the boys took, and a sofa bed, which was fine for us for just one night.
The room was spacious and clean, and the bathroom was particularly good. Really big, well maintained, lots of amenities, lots of shampoo, conditioner and the like. They were all really good.
By this time we were all starving, so we decided to go and find somewhere to eat. Our hotel was primarily a business hotel, with food prices to match. So we had a look on TripAdvisor ahead of time for some cheaper alternatives, and we went with one of their recommendations.
We had read about a local grill house just around the corner from the hotel. We always like to start a trip to Greece with Gyros, and this seemed like a good place. However, as we ventured out the hotel to find it, we did start to have some doubts, as on the way there it didn't look the greatest area.
On arrival, though, we were pleasantly surprised, and we had a great meal, with plenty of drinks, for €70 total. That was including tip.
And we had lots to eat. We had tzatziki and bread and beers, so lots and lots to eat and drink. Back at the hotel, we had a little explore. The Intercontinental's public spaces weren't up to much. The pool seemed nice, but it was busy, so we didn't use it. Then we headed into Athens on foot. It's walkable from the Intercontinental Hotel, but it's quite far and you have to cross a fairly busy road, so you may want to get a taxi depending on time and mobility.
As we'd been to Athens recently, as we said before, we didn't visit any of the tourist sites directly, but we enjoyed taking in the atmosphere of the Plaka and seeing the Acropolis up on the hill.
Still full from our late lunch, we decided to avoid dinner, and so we had ice cream for dinner.
We also managed to find some shoes for our youngest son to wear on the ship, as the ones we'd ordered before we went away didn't arrive until the day we embarked.
And we wanted to make sure he had something to wear in the main dining room that was suitable for him, but also keeping in mind the requirements of the ship. Anyway, at the end of our very long travel day, we decided to push the boat out and take advantage of the Intercontinental's rooftop bar. The hotel website boasts one of the best panoramic views of Athens on its roof, and it isn't exaggerating.
The drinks were incredibly expensive. It came to €40 for 2 Coke Zeros and 2 non-alcoholic beers. But they did throw in a couple bowls of nuts, so there's that. And look at what we got to see. The view and the experience were well worth the price, and it was a nice reward after such a long travel day.
You could just go up there if you were staying in the hotel and not buy a drink. There was plenty of area to stand and look out at the view. Join us next time as we drag our teens and our cases down to Piraeus to embark on the Celebrity Constellation. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the notification bells so you're informed when that video drops next Monday.
And if you want a sneak peek of what the Celebrity Constellation is like, click this video now to see our onboard ship tour.
Thanks for watching. See you soon.